Ready to go? Okay, we're gonna call the meeting to order at 8:03. And we'll start with roll call.
Michael Niven,
Present.
Andrew Grove, Stacy Hill, Tom Langston, Shirley McElhatton,
Here.
Kristen Reisinger,
Here.
Barry Wrestler,
Here.
Amanda Ross,
Here.
Ian Smith,
Here.
and Stephen Stratmeyer.
All right, moving on to citizens' comments. Not up here, like we have any citizens
No,
to make a comment. All right, next up is the approval of the meeting minutes from last month on October 5th. They're attached. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes? Motion to approve. And second.
Second.
We are approved. The next item is the commissioner report.
Cool. All right, it's budget month. This is like the busiest month for commission, busiest month for the manager, especially in the finance department. And super big decisions. We just got the manager's recommended budget November 1st. That just hit the public and the first time I saw it. So our budget process, like one sentence version, is that manager per law, per home rule charter, has to present their recommendation on a balanced budget by November 1st every year. And then it's the commission's job to ratify it, and we have until the end of the year. We're not doing it at the end of the year, then we don't have an operating budget for 2024. So we have 4 public sessions scheduled. They're 3 to 4 hours where we kind of go through the budget line by line. It's boring, but it's very interesting. And one of the big pieces is recreation. Recreation is most of what we talk about here, but there's also parks maintenance, which extends into some recreation related activities like fencing, and that's on the public works side. But the recreation meeting is Saturday, November 18th at 10 a.m. So feel free to tune in or come on down on Saturday if you dare, if that's what you want to do with your Saturday, the 18th. And you can watch and hear us go through line by line the recreation pieces and then weigh in with public comment or send an email to all commission. Tonight, I just wanted to give, I know everyone's probably like Nancy wants to get out of your Steelers game and stuff, but I wanted to give all the pertinent recreation related information that's in the budget this year to you all as well. And then hear any feedback that you have on that. If that's okay, that probably take like, hopefully no more than 10 minutes. Maybe I can do it faster than that. Cause it's just like super important. This is what gets funded. Nothing is guaranteed, not even dude salary. Everything is like, it's a 0-line budget. So we start out with 0 and go through everything line by line. In the budget workshop, if you do watch that one, we'll walk through the recreation stuff. And then a commissioner might pull out something and say, you know what, I don't agree with that. I don't want to fund that item, or I want to fund this. I want to fund this item. So there's things that were recommended to be funded and things that didn't make the cut. And that's what we'll be doing on those worksheets. And then the very last workshop, it's tentatively scheduled. Oh, it's scheduled, but as long as we get through everything we need to get through. The last one is in December, on December 5th at 6 p.m. here as well, and also on Zoom. And that's where we'll go through everything that was pulled out and kind of duke it out and decide what does get funded, what doesn't get funded.
What time is the 18th rec one?
9 a.m. but 10 o'clock when rec starts. So that's the Saturday one. The meeting starts at 9, but we're estimating that we'll get to rec at 10.
Typically, how long do they
10,
last?
4 hours, but rec is just probably like an hour, right?
That's about right.
And there's,
I think
You can come in
police
person or
first or
just-
something.
Definitely you can come in person, you'd be in this room exactly where you are, or you can watch online if that's better.
And it's not like a public comment meeting or anything like that, although the commission could call on anyone they like, but
To give input, yeah.
yeah, I present the budget, commission asks questions, and that's how it goes.
And right now, I'll talk about some of the public works items, and then you can be more, you'll have better information about whether you want to attend that one too. That one is on Thursday, November 9th, and it's slated for 8 p.m. 8 to 9 is public works on Thursday, November 9th. So I'll just jump right in. That's cool. The big expenses are the capital improvements, and what's recommended to be funded are tennis courts, renovating number 4 and 5, right? Those are the two? Courts, I know.
5,
Or is it
5,
5 to 6.
5, 6.
5 and 6. It was actually on the budget for last year and we estimated to be $300,000. Indoor tennis is generously contributing 45% of that. When we went to take it out to bid, it was $100,000 over what we thought. So they came back with $405,000 instead of $300,000. We didn't have it, so it's on the budget again. We have all those carryover funds and then we're going to fund. The manager recommended funding that additional money, and we're gonna split it with indoor, it's still at that 45%. So that'll get us.
I'm sorry, if I could just
No.
interject a quick
Maybe
comment about that. The tennis center project will be, the agenda item for approval of the contract will actually be on the November 14th, commission meeting.
Yes,
So even though
Yes.
it's in there above the line, it's actually, it
Because
was
they approved
funded
it
in
last
this
year.
current year.
Because it's like
Yeah.
the previous
Because we approved
approved
it
and then
last
the
year.
additional funds.
Mhm.
Yeah,
That makes
correct.
sense.
And then the other big recreation item or medium size is an elevator for the founder's room. I get that's, and, recommended to be replaced for $70,000.
Is that above or below the line?
That made it.
Did it really?
I know.
I haven't even read the manager's budget yet.
Founders,
I've been a little bit.
So
in the rec
that's the
center.
tennis.
The room above.
Henderson is the,
You know how there's an elevator in there? I know you didn't know that. I'm not surprised you do.
There
know.
is no, or there is an
There's
elevator?
There currently
one that
is
is
an elevator.
Replaced.
It needs to be
it's like you would push someone onto
Yeah.
it.
You could call it like a lift. It's an open car, but it goes further.
It may need to know for future.
Nice
What was
building
the
up there.
question?
You should rent
I
it.
just said, if you could push somebody off of it. She said you could push them on.
You could off the balcony on the outside.
You could.
Could.
You don't have to pay for that, but.
Remember, ask you to
Stay
be.
away from me and when you're at the tennis center.
It's
Are there security lighting there?
Public record.
I'll do whatever I have to do to get some more security lighting.
That's good. plan. I'm on it. All right. Parks related maintenance items, and this is under Public Works, so this is not the Saturday one, this is Thursday meeting. Stuff that is relevant for us. Ball field bleacher safety upgrades, purchase and install, this is recommended to be funded already. Purchase and install 9 sets of fall protection side and back rails for current bleacher seating at Dixon and Middle fields. An additional 6 sets would complete Seymour Field. And this is scalable, so we can adjust the funding, but it's estimated at $41,000. Questions on that?
I would have a comment on that.
Yeah,
I've looked at that before. I know David, you and I talked about that at one point. But I think I'd have to go check. I think there are a couple of school fields that have bleachers that have the railings that I guarantee you are not utilized. The one I'm thinking of primarily is at Mellon on the third base side. There would never be anybody that sits on those. There's 2 large bleachers that have them. If it's of any value to
are you
potentially
catching this or sorry?
I'm jotting it down.
Jot it down. Melon
potentially
says
look at
something's gonna
that,
extra
that the
bleachers.
school, I mean, maybe the school would want to repurpose them, but.
Yeah.
But also, it could be something where
They're not using them.
it wouldn't be as much to replace and. I don't know. I've always noticed that at Mellon, and there's another set somewhere else. I'll have to think.
We can reach out to Jeff Kaiser and see if he'd like to part.
Now, I may be totally wrong, but even at like the high school freshman baseball there, I don't believe. I've ever seen anybody sit, because they're inaccessible.
Yeah, they are really
You
hard.
can't get to
You have to get
the,
down onto the
you
field.
can't get to
So
the
like even
third
when
base
like,
side of,
even when a rectangular sport is playing there, they're not used.
I don't believe so.
I can't
No,
even.
'cause I don't even know where they are.
Where are
Yeah, they're just totally inaccessible.
They're on that, they're closer to the batter spot. So they're not even.
Well, they're up
near
from the
left
dugout.
side. They're not even near the rectangular
No,
field.
no.
They're
Okay,
looking
okay,
at
so
the
far, okay, yeah.
Mellon.
melon.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll ask.
I
That's a great.
don't, I mean, I don't, I haven't been up there recently, so I'm assuming they're still there. And I'm assuming they have the guardrails. Otherwise, I wouldn't have made note of it in my head. But
Cool.
anyways, I know it's
Can
not,
you save
it's
us
not
$41,000
cheap.
or that's what this
I don't-
is.
how much was it?
41,000
Divided by
is what we're estimating.
6.
Yeah, that's,
Say that.
but I will say, and obviously liability things, but I mean, I have seen small children tumble from the back of, specifically the ones at Seymour. But I'm sure it can happen in any of them. So, But that, I mean, she was fine, but after some tears, but. it
They
does
are
happen.
falling, like it's the middle ones, you're falling onto the concrete parking lot. Dixon,
This was
you
on-
might hit grass.
Yeah, right, this was on concrete, yeah, or asphalt or whatever, it was, so.
Maybe the placement of concrete is considered.
Yeah. Start there for sure.
Then every year we set some money aside for preventative fence maintenance, and this is 16,000 recommended for next year, and that's as stuff comes up, it needs to be adjusted. So not a ton of money. We got park fall zone replacement for that material at Church Place Park, and that is $25,000. I think those last 20, 30 years, so we're just going through and updating that one to something a little safer and newer. And number 9 is parks identification signage. So we set aside only $10,000, and not just parks, just, parks and all recreation related things, but that's another scalable amount to manufacture those signs that we designed. Help. Not a ton of money, and I'm not super worried about that. I might ask for a little bit more money for signs, but I also know we can fundraise, and I think we can kind of add to it as we go, as we start to, if we can get another 5 or 10 throughout the year. Not super expensive. Okay, things that didn't get funded in this public works kind of area. I know it's not, it totally makes sense to jump around, but didn't get recommended to be funded. I'm sorry. Concession stand roll-up service window. That makes sense to people? I never heard about this. Funding allows for replacement of both concession stand service windows. Current roll-up doors have reached the end of their useful life. They're used to raise and lower the windows, is stripped and broken along with the locking mechanisms. How important do you all feel that is? To work in, or can we get by another year, or is it
Asking me
like?
Personally,
Yeah.
Ian's the one who uses
He's
that.
the,
let me
it's like,
see,
should I text my daughter?
Jerry
who
rigged
works
those
there?
for like 3 years.
Tired of Jerry rigging them, or?
They get, I mean, this year we secured them, but it's very difficult, like I have to go down there all the time and open them up because other people can't do it either just physically, if we have younger kids down there working the stand.
How
And
about,
then it's been broken into numerous times, but that was why I did what I did this year to keep it from being wide open. But then it basically negates, unless you know what you're doing to open them.
the breaking into them bothers me. Not that it doesn't bother, having something that's completely useless, it needs repaired and not being replaced in a community like this, that's problem number 1, but the breaking in, like, it's not safe. And their stuff's getting stolen, I don't see why that wouldn't be. And that's just basic
What's the
general
cost of that?
maintenance.
I don't remember what Phil told me.
It seems like,
18,000, so not terrible, not crazy,
Yeah, 9,000, that just seems way too much.
yeah,
What would a liability claim cost?
I mean, everybody's
Seriously.
liability.
I know, but I mean.
Everybody always says liability, we can talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but how much stuff was in there, like, expense wise? Like, is there anything really expensive?
Well, it would depend on the time of year. I mean, the only things that have happened is more vandalism. I don't think we've ever had any money stolen, although, they used to keep some money in the in the door, drawer, but they don't, we actually have a drop safe in there now, so it always never. It's more there's been stuff strewn about the fields and the
Yeah,
park that was in there that was reachable.
I'm hearing flag it, try to get it in
I
there.
would. It just seems like a
In there.
basic,
Yeah, it's not super
It's not that
expensive.
expensive either.
I mean,
Right, try to get it in there now. I mean, the funding now means it'll get done in July, it still takes a while.
Yeah, I
Order the
mean,
parts to get it.
I'm assuming that. I'm not sure where they're getting that price, but boy, that just seems.
Seems high.
to me. But I mean, I know it's not cheap, but it's not
that's
the
more than a garage
specialized
door.
items.
Yeah, I know, I'm
Yeah.
picturing these things.
Yeah, I mean, like it is a
They're
roll
they're
up door,
about
but like,
Yeah.
yeah.
5
Because the one at the high
by
school
8.
doesn't work so well.
I was
either.
gonna say the one that I.
I remember hammering
Yeah,
that with you. We were hammering, trying to get that in this one night as well, so.
But it's not good bench.
And they're heavy, and you
Yeah.
cut yourself on them, and you're trying to like get it up and down, and it's.
Okay, fly that one. Well,
Well, I mean, it's only the second one you mentioned. so.
right, I'll
Yeah,
keep
that's
going.
right.
Keep going.
Might be
I have a
one.
personal interest, but.
Yeah, okay.
It affects me personally at this point, but that is my choice. It's my
No,
choice as a volunteer.
well, okay. Recreation, golf course, same as we've been typically doing, same kind of level of funding, no major changes. We did do some upgrades, you all remember Cart Pass recently, and then we, the new pavilion as well. So, same. Tennis center, maybe some new exciting stuff going on there. So tennis center right now has a part-time year-round employee and we have the possibility on the budget for additional positions. We think those additional positions could be revenue generating at least after the first year. And they've gotten a chance to build the program out such that it might be a net zero or possibly even cash flow positive by year 2. So there's a couple key positions there. A full-time racket center manager is one of them. Full-time maintenance person is another one, and then possibly another position as well. We're still working on the pricing for that though. When there's a number right now, but I know that it's already been kind of updated and tweaked as we're getting some comps for what those positions are going out for. So I'm gonna fight for that. I know that I've been hearing from the community, and I know that David's saying that tennis could use more staff to run the level of quality of programs, and we definitely need some more maintenance as well. So hopefully
Is that born out of reduction in individuals who would typically volunteer to do some of the stuff that is currently or over the years has been current level? Do you understand what I mean?
the maintenance right now is done by people usually in the public works crew that are coming over that aren't dedicated and don't have the expertise. They do a good job, but they're not there all day. And then indoor tennis runs 6-7 months of the year, right?
Well, they have it
6 to 7 months of the
7,
year.
but they operate about 6.
Yeah, and they have a lot of volunteers and staff that run it, and they've been asking us for years for help in that area, like help in terms
So
of
are these
resources.
employees for both indoor and outdoor?
Yes.
They would be,
You'd be
Yeah.
year round, they'd be year round.
they would be
help with
year
that.
round, municipal employees, but they would be doing the work, some of the work that indoor does. Now. That has to do now, whether they're doing it with volunteers or with paid staff. But there's been a lot of requests from indoor to help with the facilities maintenance and ground maintenance.
And this is something that is on the work to be funded. We jumped back, I did not make the cut.
Proposed, it's,
No, but you were
It's
going through,
below
like
the
you were,
line.
that's what I was gonna say, you were on the public utilities and we hit the baseball thing and then we went back to the rec.
Everything else, I'm very clear on where the line is.
Okay.
This one shifted in the last month after it got
Okay.
like printed. So it's currently below the line,
Okay,
but I think because it's revenue generating, I think it'll be, I think
okay.
we'll do. I'm hoping.
Consider
we'll-
under consideration. Well,
Okay.
no, that's still public works because she's talking about maintenance.
Yeah,
person.
okay, but that's still under the public.
No, this one is
Oh.
now.
You jump back to, that's what I'm trying,
I'm
so
so
you were
sorry.
on public
So, yeah.
works and then you jump back to the.
Right, I
But
totally
we
shifted.
apologize in advance for knocking around. You gotta keep up.
The baseball thing was not funded or has not been recommended to be
That's the
funded.
only one we discussed that's not.
Okay,
recommended
but this one
funding.
you're going to recommend.
This one
Concessions.
is,
It's just below.
The concessions.
yeah, the only thing so far we talked about is concession stand that isn't recommended by the
Okay.
manager to be funded. Now I'm in rec, so this
Okay.
is the Saturday meeting, this is like the 10 o'clock. We'll get into this, and I really am hopeful that we'll get it through.
Okay,
Very hopeful.
got it.
At least 2 of those 3 possible positions. Tennis, so we talked about a lot of tennis stuff, so that's the courts, elevator, and then some new positions. Move off tennis, okay. Platform, same basic level of operation as always, no changes there. Ice rink, same basic level of operations, no changes there. What didn't get funded again, it's been on the budget all 4 years, I've seen it. Aluminum railings, complete the remaining aluminum railings in the ice arena bleacher area. This upgrade will eliminate the need for painting, so does that make sense to you? $50,000 for aluminum railings, didn't get funded again. And then the non-coin operated locker replacement, worn-down lockers are replaced in the lobby and the coaches' rooms. Lockers are separated into 3 zones. Purchase and installation is replacement for zone 1, that's $27,000. We gave them some money for lockers last year. Didn't we give any money?
I think we got some money for lockers
Very small
this
amount.
year, but it'll be a
Yeah,
carryover, so
it'll be
we'll have
carryover.
something.
Yeah.
We'll have something.
Is there a current maintenance issue with the ice?
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that. later.
Okay.
We're getting into that.
Yes, that's gonna be big. We'll do that one.
We'll talk about that.
Read your agenda.
Yeah.
Uh,
I didn't make it past 4 either.
So, any fighting, any interest in fighting for either of those two potential ice rink related things, Raylands or more lockers? We do have a little bit of carryover money for lockers already.
I was gonna say lockers to me is again, one of those things that you walk into the ice rink and you compare it to the other ice rinks you go to and
It looks,
Dewey falls below every other ice rink you go to. In its appearance.
so maybe lockers or maybe see what the carryover money is.
The current ones are, the old ones you had, like when you used to do like roller skating,
Right.
the coins
Yeah,
or Kaywood or whatever.
Oh, wow, those are fun.
we have coins.
What are the new versions? What are they? Just like
You know, with it.
What would we be looking for?
yeah, like
Yeah,
what's the new
we're-
technology in that space?
We'd look at. We'd look at.
I mean, yeah, it's funny, but I'm like, I'm a serious.
Well, even
Asking in a serious
if you
way.
go to like a hospital, it's like a 3-digit code. You type in a 3-digit code and it's
That'd be
memorizes
really
it for you.
nice. I don't know that we'll have funds for that, but like.
That's what like UPMC
We
has.
envision a plastic material so that it's not something that's getting dented and rusting and falling apart. If you seen the ones at the pool, I mean, that's an example.
Are those coin based?
No,
How do they lock? Like?
you could put your own lock on it for the day. You can't leave
Gotcha.
them on overnight, but you could
Gotcha.
put a lock on it.
Can I have this is a totally related question, but the ice rink, I'm assuming the ice rink has its own employees, right? That are rec center employees, or are they public works employees? Like-
Super, yeah, it's super confusing. I understand. You can answer it, but I get that it's confusing.
It,
Do they have like a facilities manager?
I guess it depends on, your point of view. It's not confusing to us. I mean, we have our own employees.
Yeah.
We maintain, recreation maintains all of its own facilities.
Right,
We do get some support from Public Works on different things, like they plow our lot,
sure.
we shovel all the sidewalks. And if they're not there and we have a plow in the front of our truck, we will plow our lot because we operate like sometimes 19, 20 hours a day.
Yeah.
So we have to be, and snow doesn't just come at, 5 AM and then get shoveled away. But we maintain all of our own buildings and equipment, Public Works supplements on, certain projects. Like they went over and looked at the heaters on the platform tennis courts. It ended up, he couldn't fix it, so I called a contractor. So they're there for us when we need them, but we
But
by and large handle our own stuff.
the ice rink has like a facilities manager, or.
We have a facility manager and we have
I'm
three
trying to compare it
full-time,
to like tennis, does it have like a full-time facility?
Yeah. 3 full-time maintenance men and several part-time maintenance
For the ice rink,
Okay.
for the ring.
Those are-
but
yeah.
not tennis.
Not tennis, right.
Dennis has 0 full-time
Right.
employees of
Correct.
any
That's right,
kind.
okay, that's.
No maintenance.
Right, that's why I'm trying to say like, if, from a argument standpoint
Yes.
of, then the maintenance of clay tennis courts is every bit as complicated as the maintenance of an ice rink. Maybe not, I don't know.
Sure. Well-
But it is more of a
It
specialized
is
maintenance
complicated.
because of clay courts as opposed to like just asphalt courts.
That is very true. And related to
I'm
that,
giving you
the
more-
better,
I got
the better comparison is the golf course.
Yes.
Highly
Yeah.
specialized maintenance. Typically more seasonal in nature, although we have 3 bubbles and 6 courts, so we're going all the time. But I think it's a very similar comparison,
And golf course also has its own maintenance people.
It has its own full-time
Lieutenant is
maintenance
the only
person. At
one.
one time, it had 2 full-time maintenance people. And we're asking in the budget for another full-time
Now
maintenance
it's
person.
below the
So
line.
It is below the line, but we're
You
asking.
want me to flag it?
So the fact we've been running this tennis center with a part-time person. for
Right.
How many?
20 hours a week,
20 hours a week.
part-time.
Uh,
For years.
well, for longer than I've been here.
Right,
I
sure.
mean,
Yeah.
So it's been a long time.
Yeah, it's pretty shocking.
Well, and also I think the argument is if you have a full-time employee, what does that do to the
Like the
to the top
programs
line, the
and
programming and the
yeah.
money coming in?
yeah.
I would like to think that if you gave somebody 40 hours versus 20 hours, they would turn that into a positive.
I would
Yeah,
say what I-
Programming.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Then you can put in more programming and make more money.
And maintain things better.
Yeah.
Right, on and on.
We're on the same.
Yeah, it's,
Guys have high expectations.
That's what I want
Oh,
to
the
do.
baseball field.
That's my top, I don't know, like super
Okay.
top.
Sorry.
What else is?
Okay,
yeah.
pool, some, a big change in pool, very excited, another percent, $40,000 allocated to a manager. Right now, we don't have that level of pay for the manager position. So what we end up getting for pool managers are individuals that aren't as seasoned or experienced is what we're looking for now. Labor market's changed and, you know, we need to, I think, switch that up.
and that's two seasonal
Two,
positions.
two
40
part-time.
40-hour season. So they're full-time while they're there.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
yeah, two.
Did you just say you allocated $40,000 for that?
No,
$43,000 is recommended by the manager and it's above the line right now for
Okay.
that position. But
For
it's
the two positions?
for two.
Yeah, so split in half. Okay.
Does that sound reasonable or how's that sound?
Honestly, I'd have to think about it. But I think so because it's seasonal. So you're talking, when would you anticipate that person might start in like the beginning of May or?
well, Carrie, we don't know, to be perfectly honest.
Whenever they
So-
can?
So ideally, I mean, we would love to have them on May 1st to help with, some of the interview, maybe even earlier, April 15th, help with some of the interviewing, the opening tasks for the swimming pool. But, reality is if we're lucky, we might get a teacher and they're not gonna be there till June 10th. I mean, we don't know what we're gonna get.
Mhm.
So we're open, but early would be great, and then stay longer too to help shut down the facility, so that's what we're looking at.
So you might have luck getting one person maybe that could be there longer and then a second person who could fill in.
Sure, yeah.
So that
definitely.
might not be just like split in half or whatever.
Yeah,
okay.
and if we could get one longer and one shorter term, that'd be great, but the swimming pool is open longer than one 40-hour a week person could possibly, handle.
For sure.
7 days and longer than 8 hours every single day. So you really need two people. Our goal was to try to staff the swim center with a manager every hour that we're open. That was our goal. So they switch off midday or they switch off days, whatever it is. We'd like to have that mature, very competent presence at all times. And the driving force here is safety, obviously.
Mhm.
But the secondary benefits are just gonna be greater efficiency, better maintenance, better customer service, cleaner facility. I mean, all these things, better
Calmer,
training
maybe, yeah.
for our staff, which goes right back to safety. I mean, that's what we're trying to accomplish here.
Leadership and that.
I think that sounds really good.
Thanks.
Good, yeah. If you have any more feedback on the salaries or whatever, let us know.
Yeah, I actually do have, I did inquire and I do have a number for you. So I can,
Yeah, what people would,
yeah, the person gave me an hourly number that would be a target.
heard that,
Okay, yeah.
week, 16 weeks, depending on when they start, right?
Yeah, do you want me to tell you what number was given to me or just tell you later?
It doesn't matter, if you want to tell it in public in a recorded meeting, or if you just want to talk about it later, it's totally up to you.
It doesn't, I don't know that it matters, but I'll
Say it
just,
on.
I'll tell you later.
Okay, so that one, citing more staff, again, maybe they'll pay for themselves, I don't really care, safety issue, we talked about it. Things that didn't make the cut below the line related to the swimming centers, pool, a water fountain, that's also a water refiller for $5,000. Programmable pool cleaner for $9,000, pool shade structure, another one for $25,000. or a sprinkler system for the grass for $25,000. Not recommended to be funded. None of those I personally see are like, we gotta have them, but opening it up to the floor.
Sprinkler system in a landscaping capacity.
Yes, for the grass there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Meh,
is the grass okay? It seems fine. Right?
I water my own lawn, it's fine.
Right, that's how I feel. I don't wanna go
If you
on.
hired a manager, that'd be job
From
number one.
5:30
that house
a.m.
around.
Until nine.
Don't let anybody drown and water the lawn.
Water the lawn.
Can we repurpose the turf from a field? That's the
I
joke.
mean, that's what we had at the wave pool back then,
Yeah,
it was like there.
Yeah.
They still have it
Yeah.
at South Park. for the- Water by Robinson,
Data on
the way-
like each year, how often it's open with like weather, like.
Yes,
Right.
attendance every day.
So this last little rec area, little one, the last rec area is our community center, rec center, it's called some ice rink. Community center building, like the meeting room section, that one, funded at the regular level, plus a new security system for $10,000. Cameras to monitor and the center and the rink. Will be helpful.
How about Middlefield?
That's not a separate one, but you want cameras in the middle too?
Oh, there's a plan for cameras throughout the park, throughout the rec facilities, golf course.
Just not in this budget or?
I don't, I thought something bigger was above the line, but like I said, I haven't even had a chance to look.
To look
at
at it. I know it's
manager's
just came out.
budget yet.
It's just
Uh,
Okay,
well,
so, 10,
I've been
yeah, you've been a little busy,
sidetracked,
the emergency.
Yeah, right.
just a little,
That's on my radar. Vandalism has gotta stop at
Dixon?
yeah,
middle of Dixon.
well, at the pool, everywhere.
Everywhere. Yeah, everywhere, okay. I'll try to flag it if I can finally squeeze it in,
Yeah.
another 10K for a camera over there. It might be harder because you have to wire, further, and I don't know how you get Wi-Fi over there, but maybe
Even
we
the
have it.
threat of cameras, I think, is a
Yeah.
positive.
Of the public.
Okay.
They're real cameras.
There are no middle schoolers. in this meeting, So I'm
Fifteen
not-
years, we've been using the dome camera, that's like.
Yeah.
It just this battery operated with a
Yep.
blinking light.
Or even a
need
sign
the
that
ability to
says this,
document.
your area is being monitored.
Oh, that,
It's like the
Huh.
fake security sign in your
Yeah,
front
one of
yard.
those
that
as
you
well.
have a
Yeah,
security
that is
system and you
something
don't.
that's very
I've had that
cheap.
for 10
Yeah.
years at my own house. I don't know, work for security
Love it.
Company and I put the sign in my yard without the system.
Fine.
I left the one in my yard, but you have to live out. The table lived out.
Okay, I think that's my budget.
Something.
Anything else we missed? Anything else?
Is that all?
That's all I got. The
Is
only
there
other
anything in the
question I
parks
was
part
gonna
that has anything to do with parks? Okay.
Again,
All right.
the only other thing I was gonna push for everybody is not, it's not in this capital improvement plan, but just the turf replacement, that it's coming. And that when we do it, we wanna do those lights
Yes.
and look at the parking lot.
If you go to the website and look at the manager's budget, there's that one particular section that shows above and below. And you can just look through one, like it's a couple pages, but you can just look for the line and then look what's around it. That's where I start.
Okay,
Because some of the stuff at the beginning is like something that will always be funded.
right.
Police, fire,
This
trash
turf is
collection
not
or whatever.
on the 2024 budget. Are we anticipating it'll be on the 2025 budget?
I put in here what it
The cedar turf.
Oh, it's in the capital improvement program, it's 2025. That's
Is
the
it?
projected.
Okay.
Okay.
So it's not next year, it's the year after.
Fence, come on, okay, I find it, page 40. W, or
That's my memory.
hopefully it is. 2025, boom. Here are the lights included. Let me see, I got $990 for the contractual construction, 990,000.
I think it's a separate
150
page.
for planning and design. This is a separate line item.
We opened in July of 15.
No, yeah,
In a
so
minute.
that'll be 10 years. Is that the recommendation?
It's usually
Because
7
the
to 8.
warranty's 8, so we stretched it out.
Good care of it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we might
Yeah.
get, no, we might get 11, I don't know.
No,
Yeah,
we're not gonna.
you want those lights.
Well, I want the
Wait a
lights, but I
minute.
also want it safe too. I just know when turf starts to get
There's
old,
lots and lots of.
there are a
pillars.
lot of injuries that result. And
Are you
so,
talking about like from
Playing the
impact
sports.
or
no,
other reasons?
there have been, as it wears,
Finish you.
and goes beyond
Yeah, I already
different
have it.
expectancy, there can be tears, there can be bubbles, there can be things that will
Good,
cause
yes.
issues with
I usually have
those
one of
playing on
things.
those
What do you want
fields.
me to look at?
No, you,
It's
you
at
can
a higher
look at
risk
the
of
whole thing.
injury.
No, no, no.
It's on
Really good shape.
Lights
there's
are on.
no risk.
125.
That's all I'm saying.
Just
Well,
a
the
separate line
big
item.
thing is like the
Yeah, and this
GMAX,
one?
they, which is the
Split.
pushiness.
Yeah.
basically. So
Here.
we do
Not this
GMAX
one.
testing every year.
Okay.
And when it gets to a point where it's losing that, we're gonna know for sure that, we gotta do something. But in addition to that, it's inspected seams, infill, how well the grooming has been kept up, all those things are inspected every year.
Good, okay, good.
All right, is
All right,
that
that's
all you
it,
have?
that's all I got, unless you guys have anything else we missed, then there's like dire needs related to budget.
All right, we'll roll through the rest of these. Advisory board, restructuring, transition planning.
Nothing.
I got
to
nothing
report.
new, we talked about it last time.
Yeah, we have a handful of meetings left. Comprehensive plan.
Big news there, but you wanna take that one?
Sure, the draft of the 2023 comprehensive plan is on Ascend Lebo, on the website.
We emailed it to you.
Draft plan document as well as a form to submit comments and feedback is available. And that's where they would like you to submit your feedback so that it can all be aggregated into one spot. So go to ascendlebo.com.
How long is that open?
I
looked at
don't know
that.
how long.
It's taking me a little while.
Is it
Yeah.
45 day public period?
Sounds
No,
right,
they-
but we started it like a week ago, maybe.
Okay. Can I ask a question? Because I wasn't here last week or last month, but in the minutes, it said something about sending our comments to you
Yeah,
for you to
But-
compile, or you want?
but that's now already been done and compiled.
Oh, okay.
So now you wanna
want
go
us
to
go
Ascend
on
Lebo and
and
have
do it
further comments.
Just as a member of the public.
Yeah,
Well, you
Yeah.
can denote that you're from
You
the
did know
board.
it. Got it.
Oh, good,
Yeah.
good.
Okay, good. Okay.
well, I don't, but that's not a requirement.
No, no, no,
you don't have to.
Submit.
Yeah,
Okay.
yep.
Yeah.
Anyone can
No, no,
submit
no, you
feedback.
Anyone can
it just.
You
yeah,
can
it's
star
just a
yours
radio.
by saying that you're a board.
Got it.
I got you.
Then I can filter for those responses supposedly. and be able to
Well, that's exciting.
know.
And we gave some feedback to them before they went to that next
Mm-hmm.
thing. Main Park Site Plan, these are the longest titles ever. Main Park Site Plan and Recreation Center Architectural Study.
I can update you that the consultants are continuing their work. We've got they're gonna come to the rec center. I think they were there yesterday and came back again. So they're actually comparing their drawings to what actually exists and so they're compiling that. They're gonna be presenting some proposed recommendations to the commission on November 14th. So if you wanted to hear that, I imagine that's gonna be the discussion session, so like 6:30-ish.
With with all the ice melt, it'd be a great time to dig down and add new footers to build a couple more levels.
Thanks.
Too soon?
All right, next up, Rafferton Field project update. I believe the infield has grass, right?
Infield's got grass.
Well, it's got soil and
seed.
seed, and it has a red or orange construction fence around it. So that's gonna stay up until the spring, and then we'll reevaluate at that time.
Okay.
Additionally, Public Works went and aerated the rest of the turf and overseeded, so hopefully we'll get some growth. Maybe we got a tad in the fall and because this was done, I don't know, a week or two ago. And then get some growth right away in the spring and see how things look.
And that's also on the 2025 plan, capital improvement plan, to do another $120,000 of work. on
Like
grass.
phase 2?
The phase two,
Okay.
right, that's
So that
the
could maybe be like the parking lot, do something with the basketball court.
multi-purpose
Exactly.
basketball court, adding playground equipment or additional parking. I mean, it's only 120,000, so, grant funding will be sought for the additional improvements. I mean, number 5, that's sports advisory board, so.
Okay.
We're
That's-
putting that
that's
number.
Parking.
Yeah, putting the tag in that for 2025, so hopefully a year from now, it'll make it through, yeah. We potentially might have some debt service that is coming due, and so we could take out another loan and not have to pay, be paying the same amount of debt service that we currently are paying. So that could be where we could get some money for these big projects.
Number 9 is the field study update, so that is, we invited, I sent an email out with some projected dates to our first group of people, which includes all the youth sports presidents, as well as the sports advisory board members that are go along with that. So for example, Kristen and the lacrosse board president were both invited. Ian serves us both, so he was by himself for baseball. We did that for all the associations that were involved in the study. If anybody else that serves on this board that's not representing a field sport, like the two of you, Carrie, anybody else that wants to be a part, that wants to hear the presentation, you're welcome. Just shoot me an email and we'll get you on the list. I didn't include you because I didn't know who cared.
Thank you.
I don't know, paddle and tennis and the pool and the hockey rink and the golf course and they may not care at this point. If you care, you're welcome to come. The idea is that we get the kind of buy-in from all the youth organizations first, and then we'll go immediately to the school district, any municipality, to the commissioners and the rec department and share our findings. But we'd like to kind of go with one voice from all the youth sports organizations.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so.
Hopefully we may have some disagreements or.
Yeah, and also like we want to get feedback on what they think, and then there can be the appendix could be 200 pages, the amount of data we have, but we really want to narrow down what is important to people and what people really want to know or are curious about. And then, so I put out like, I don't know, 10 dates over the next 5 weeks. So hopefully by early December, we'll have kind of done that. And by the first of the year, we can start to get to the other decision makers.
Okay, great.
All right, number 10, the ice rink repair update.
Yeah, if it's okay, I'd like to just review a summary of
Sure.
events and then, if you have questions or whatever, I can do that. Okay, I think by now everyone knows we had some problems with the rink. It started over the weekend of October 21 and 22 when our compressors were having problems maintaining the ice. Our service provider ABM was on site troubleshooting, but by Sunday around midday, the ice was too soft to skate on. We communicated the initial closure on Lebo Alert on the same day, Sunday, and we were communicating with hockey organizations throughout the day on Monday, October 23rd, when we remained closed. By the end of the day, Monday, October 23rd, it was clear that we were not able to repair the compressors and the rink would be closed for approximately 4 weeks. This message was sent via Lebo Alert and we set up messaging on our website. The message said we would do our best to minimize downtime and that we would update when we had more definitive information. We worked throughout the week with ABM to get a complete estimate of cost for repairs, a determination of what caused the issues with the compressors, and other options available to us. Separately, we looked at options for a temporary chiller to run the ice until repairs were made. By Friday evening, October 27, none of the compressors were running and we lost the ice. So in other words, up until this time, we had one compressor maintaining the ice at a minimal level, but unsafe to skate on. Once we lost the ice, this added 8 to 10 days to our timeline because we would have to rebuild the ice. So on Monday, October 30th, we updated the website with a new timeline and added some additional details about what happened, that repairs were authorized, and let people know we were investigating a temporary chiller, which I had started looking into the day after we shut down. Since the closure on October 22nd, this has been our top priority. We're doing everything possible to get the rink open. We will update the website tomorrow with the latest information we have at that time.
So are the compressors able to be repaired, or is it a complete replacement of the compressors?
They will be repaired.
Repaired.
Yeah,
Okay.
there is no replacement for our compressors. They no longer make this compressor. In fact, they're no longer stocking parts. And we know this. We know that our system's going to be outdated. It runs R22 refrigerant, which is no longer manufactured. You can buy R22. There's enough supplies. Yeah, there's stockpiles. There's also reconditioned R22. We've always purchased virgin when we need it. So we know that, you know, our time is limited and we do need to start thinking about a replacement. But we were blindsided with these repairs. We had no idea that this was coming. We had our compressors completely, all three of them, there's three in a system. They run in a staged format. You can run on one most of the time. You need a second one to supplement, and a third is always on standby. So that third one never really kicks on. It's only used when we want to, either one goes down or we rotate lead, lag, and standby to distribute the hours over the equipment. So anyway, they were all three rebuilt within the last 2 years. So we thought we would have several years of trouble-free operation, while we could explore replacement refrigeration systems at our leisure. Completely shocked that we went down like this. And if you have read the website, that we do know the cause, we are, you know, reasonably sure that we can avoid that in the future. Parts have been ordered, repairs authorized. It's, you know, it's not cheap. The main thing is the lead time on these parts. They're actually going to have to manufacture new crankshafts for 2 compressors. Because those were
Is it the
the,
same issue with each all three
well,
compressors?
the 2, it's pretty, you know,
Similar.
it's clear that those 2 have the same problem, but odds are the third one's going to be the same thing. A micro switch failed, which sent liquid refrigerant into the compressors instead of oil. That's, you know, gonna destroy metal on metal pretty quickly. So we're reasonably certain the third one's gonna be the same as the first 2. But they can be rebuilt, and if everything runs properly, we should get the several years that we thought we would get in the first place. However, we have other equipment. This is a system. It's not just 3 compressors. There's many parts that operate together to generate ice. Our cooling tower is getting old. You know, it's showing its age. It has issues. It's had some major repairs. It is time to, you know, start to think about a replacement.
That's called an ice plant, the whole system.
Yeah, you'll hear chiller used collectively for the whole system. You'll hear ice plant, refrigeration system, ice making equipment, you know, ice center mechanicals, whatever you want to call it. That's the system that makes the ice.
Is that 2.5 million or what's that? It's a couple million.
I had a talk with the contractor that replaced the ice rink floor, by the way. That happened in 2017. That's a different piece of the system. We replaced the underfloor, which is a warm glycol loop that prevents the earth from freezing below this cold slab. So there's a layer of insulation, then you have the concrete slab that has the cold glycol recirculation that the ice sits on top of. So anyway, I called him as, you know, the first person I could think of. They build ice arenas, and you know, what was the reason you asked me about this again?
Just the thought was-
Oh, yeah. So he gave me a cost of roughly $2 million.
To replace
Brand
To
new.
replace the refrigeration side, not
Not the
like
compressor.
our floor, our glycol loops, that can all stay put.
Yeah, yeah.
But the
That's
whole,
fine.
all the machinery it takes to keep the
It's
ice,
to
to make
make
and
it.
keep the ice.
Depending on what system you select, you know, there's ammonia, there's different refrigerants, there's CO2, there's different systems out there. But the plant itself is
Including
roughly
compressors?
2 million.
Yeah.
Well, if,
And
yeah.
you want that
Yeah,
system.
whatever system you select, he's thinking roughly 2 million. He likes ammonia. I don't know, we're probably getting too much into the weeds, but he likes ammonia. That's what he was recommending, but
So, let me just switch gears real quick. If we were to build a new rec center, do we envision the ice being in that?
A completely different building.
A completely different building, so we would,
I don't know. I don't, I mean, I don't
You know what
know.
I'm asking,
I
like, if we're
do-
talking
I do
about
know.
building a new rec center, are we?
Oh,
Are we
no,
talking
we
about?
never talked about
No.
moving the rink.
No.
That's
Oh,
not-
that's
yeah,
my
because it would
question.
be-
Okay,
yeah, the
that
new
ice
rec
is
center
going to
would be
stay there
built
regardless,
around the ice.
around it or some, got it.
That's-
Okay.
that means-
The-
Side,
Okay.
it would
the
be, the
current-
rink would stay where it is.
We never had that discussion. I mean, I
The
guess
current-
we could, but.
No, but that was
never
our
had
plan to
that.
keep it there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And just to clarify, the current study is really how we're gonna fix up the existing rink. It'll have different levels that we could select from, and maybe the top one is, you know, the most elaborate and expensive, and I don't know that they would go to that level though, where we're gonna, you know, build a new ice rink and an indoor pool, and that would,
Yeah.
that's like over the top. But they will have some levels of expansion that we could look at and choose from.
But it's more about adding things like
think,
exercise
yeah,
facilities, an
like
indoor
not
track
just-
or a court
Indoor-
or
Yeah,
something
that's
like
what I
that.
thought.
To that beside, kind of, or above, or.
Better changing areas.
And
Parking, I think. is
I did mention to the consultants, like, we've had a few meetings with them, you know, one of the things on my list is we need to look at the ice plan in the next couple years to replace it. That conversation happened prior to what just happened.
Yeah, you would
I mean,
think
my-
5, 10, 5-ish years.
My
down the
new
road.
thinking is this has to happen
Sooner.
sooner than later.
So here's my concern, as we talked about the budget, it's obviously not in the 2024 budget, that's not happening. If it's in the 2025 budget, we've just
We can
layered it
start
on
talking
top
about
of the turf and the lights and now you're talking about $3 or $4 million worth of major projects all hitting at the same time.
Right, but it could be in a bond issue by then, I think that.
Probably gonna issue a bond, but that, I mean, everything's gonna compete for that bond, because that's
Sure.
not very often. We do that every 5 to 10
Sure.
years. Maybe we'll take on some big debt, because there, some other debt's falling off, so we have some room, some capacity, but it could be a big bond, which helps. But it's not, you know, it is true.
But I think that's.
It's gonna be a lot of stuff. So,
What a.
But the odds are we would need to wait that long just to get
Get the
on,
parts.
just to get on a list and get this done.
Right.
He has a cooperative purchasing plan that he's part of, so we could do it without bidding. And he says for him, you know, he's also in Minnesota, but that's who did our floor. So this is not like.
This is
out
not
of-
like there's somebody on every corner building ice
Right,
rinks.
right, it's not unreasonable to think that that could, you know, our
Minnesota
contractor could be,
company.
yes.
Yeah.
So anyway, but he's a year out if you sign up now.
right now,
Right,
and we're not,
Yeah,
so we're
so
2 years out.
possibly,
I mean, at
quite
best case
possibly,
scenario,
quite
right.
possibly.
Yeah.
So we also then need to start thinking about this, as you said, sooner rather than later.
It's time to start to sort,
Yeah.
once we get the
Oh,
red
Everybody-
back up and
exactly,
running.
everybody's
Priority
been
number
like,
2 is.
Well, the momentum's there.
Rings
Well, that's
working.
what I was gonna say, partially, you now have the momentum of all this outrage about the ice going away. Then we need to invest in a new system, and this is what
yes,
has
it's
to happen
time.
to invest in a new system. So we're at least that
Yeah,
publicly
We
you're
can
in
kind
a
of
good
channel that.
place.
There be any parking impacts, like when the roof was done, or no, they can just bring in the parks, they work inside, or
For the temporary chiller or for a,
for the work that's
Replacement.
currently going on to fix the current issue, whatever that.
I don't think we're gonna take up any parking with this, we're going, if the temporary chiller goes forward, I mean, this, one of the things you have to talk about is location. Would like for it to be like in that service drive
Yeah.
off the circle. However, to get it level and accessible, like, for example, if a Zamboni went down, for example, like we have another emergency. And I need to get that thing on a flatbed and towed out of there, I can't have a temporary chiller in my way.
Yeah.
So it's also equally likely it could end up in a, you know, part of the small parking lot.
And the temporary chiller could come sooner than the compressors could get fixed. Is that the idea? that-
It's possible. As I said if you read the website, it's very complex. This is not like you pick it up and plug it in and you're good to go. I mean, there's a lot that goes into sizing, pressure, flow rates. We have the subfloor system that I mentioned. I can't just put a chiller in. The subfloor runs off our existing chiller. A portable chiller is not gonna run that, so we need a separate system to run our subfloor, so we don't have permafrost and heave the floor that we just put in 6 years ago. So I know people think that this should be
Like plug
easy
and
and it should
play,
be,
yeah.
yes,
Why
it
did we
should
do
be
it day
done
one?
yesterday,
Yeah.
but there's a lot, we have engineers, refrigeration experts, contractors that do this. And we're still working on electricians. I mean, there is a lot that goes into this. The electrician that we're working with on this project has been out. Tomorrow morning will be his third trip to make sure that we can get the electric right with the existing switchgear that we have
For the temporary.
for a temporary chiller. And to do it, we're gonna have to steal power from the swimming pool. Thank goodness it's idle. I mean, there are so many details. This has been an all-consuming problem for, several people on my staff. I've had multiple meetings with the commission, the manager. I mean, we know this is a big deal and we're treating it accordingly. We're doing our very best.
So the
David,
public message.
mind
knows.
if I ask a question?
Carrie can't get in.
I'm sorry.
Good.
I just wondered, how much money per week are we losing by not having the rink open?
Excellent question. So revenues vary month to month. October is a big month for us. I think November is more of it's a good month, not, the best month. And December, it actually trails off a little bit. So it varies, but on average, maybe 110,000 a month we're losing in revenue. Now, there'd be some offsets in expenditures. We're not going to spend as much on utilities. We cut back a lot of staffing. There's not as much, instruction. There's no skate guards, reduced staff in other areas. So there's some offsets, but ideally, the best case scenario is you're running and you have the revenues coming in. That's the best scenario for keeping a good bottom line, a healthy bottom line.
And my second question is, so I know you said there'd be an update out tomorrow. Is there no update right now as to how much longer it might be?
Well, the original estimate for repairs is the same. We added the 8 to 10 days to make ice. That has not changed. I talked to ABM, that's our service provider. They are the ones ordering the parts. I've asked them, is there any change? Is there any change? And it's still status quo. So we need to hear from the manufacturer that they've got crankshafts for us. All the other parts are available. It's the crankshafts that are holding us up. But again, like everybody also I think everybody's aware of this. Anybody who buys things is aware of this. In today's market, there can be delays in parts. We're talking about 2 to 3 weeks for parts now. I'm not counting on that. I'm certainly hoping that that's true, and I'm going to do my best to make sure it happens. But we need to keep in mind that that might not be true. I mean, that's what we're told. So the other timeline is a temporary chiller. And I don't have an update for you. I hope to have more tomorrow when we meet with some more of the people involved to see when things can get going. We've invested a lot of time and effort. We have a good possibility that we'll get a temporary chiller. But there's multiple contractor schedules to coordinate. And then all that work has to get done, installed, everything needs to be operating perfectly, and then it needs to bring the ice temps down. So that'll be another 24 hours. So I'm not in a place where I could give you any definitive information, we're working hard on it. We're getting closer.
But tomorrow we might be in a place where we can give
I hope so.
something closer like that because we're trying to vet the temporary solution to make sure it's feasible, and then we could talk about like what the timeline would be. And if the temporary solution does work, it wouldn't be a definitive timeline because we'll try to get it up as soon as possible. But if it does work, then that 8 to 10 days to build the ice would already happen on that temporary timeline. So then when the permanent comes in, then we could subtract that back off.
Right, yeah, the hope is that you get the temporary, you're up and running. And the transition, you don't lose any ice time. That's the plan. There are things that can trip that process up, but I feel like we've,
Keep exhausting all the.
planned for that, and we're gonna, do what it takes to avoid that. That's the plan.
Let me just ask my quick question, just from a public messaging standpoint, because obviously everyone's talking about this. This wasn't a failure of preventive maintenance. You said this was rebuilt 3 years ago.
Within the last
Within the
two
last 2
years,
years.
all three were rebuilt.
Rebuilt, so, yeah. this-
That got out in the public, I got
Right, yeah,
that from 20 people,
Yeah.
different people, that we
Yeah, yeah,
didn't
yeah.
maintain it properly.
Yeah.
And then also we didn't act fast enough when it started to
Right,
happen.
right, yeah.
Which I guess people just didn't know what we were doing or
There's a
didn't
lot,
ask.
there's a lot of false stories
Closed for a
going
Yeah.
on.
long time this summer, so I
Yeah.
think people see it closed for a long, and we're
Yeah.
rebuilding a roof, I don't even know what's happening, I just know it was closed for a long time this summer.
Wait a minute, they were closed.
You know, there's just a lot of stuff happening there this summer was, I don't know.
We
New
did
roof, new
Oh,
roof
yeah,
this summer.
yeah, I know, like you
We
drive
went
by.
closed for
still-
half a day
Yeah.
They weren't closed, there was,
in the summer.
I never go in there, can you tell?
Yeah.
I do park in the parking lot though, and I was not able to park in my spot
Yeah.
because something was
Did have a-
happening there
We
also.
did have a crane in for a day.
Okay,
true.
yeah, so I just think.
There was that one outage we had like one day.
Yeah, and
I
I
don't
don't
know, it was like half day.
or I'm sure there's routine.
For the
maintenance that
roof,
you do.
for a crane, it was like
Yeah.
half a day.
Yeah.
We had a water main failure,
Yes, that was it.
where we were closed for a day.
Yeah, okay.
I think we had the
Yeah,
bad,
whatever
we had the
your
bad
routine
air
is that you do
quality
every
where we
year.
closed
Equal,
for
assume, okay.
maybe, we closed outdoor stuff for a day. So there were some small
Yeah,
closures.
yeah,
Honestly, aside from the planned shutdown for the floor replacement project in Rankin,
yeah, and that was.
I'm racking my brains trying to think of any maintenance related shutdown
Okay, got it, accept that.
that we
Okay.
shut the rink down. I mean, I can't come up with
Okay.
one.
No,
And I've been here a
Uptime,
long time.
That's what I was trying to think, like, what's the uptime
Yeah.
average over the last
Yeah,
30
that's
years?
No, this is-
Yeah,
this is-
so
I think it's.
preventative
good.
maintenance is done.
Yeah.
We acted as quick as humanly possible. We had techs there on the weekend while it was occurring.
Yeah.
I don't know what else could
No, I
have
think
humanly
that's
been,
fair.
have
Yeah.
been done.
Right.
Well, I think like the message I heard was from multiple people is like, why didn't they have parts in stock? Like ready to go if something were to happen, and I said, when your furnace breaks, do you have?
Every single part.
Do you have parts for your furnace? You don't have parts for your furnace if until it breaks and then you get
Yeah.
parts.
Hard to
That's
get
how,
hard
that's
parts
life.
lately, yeah.
Here's some, like, just to put this in a little bit of perspective, 2 compressors is over, the repairs are gonna be over 55,000. So that's 2,750 a compressor.
Yeah.
Not all that's parts, but a lot of that is parts. I'm not going to stop $20,000.
Right.
No, probably,
Yeah.
probably half of that is parts.
Yeah.
So say 2,750, then I'm not gonna stock that in parts. Plus,
In the
what-
off
In
chance
case
that
it goes
something
down.
happens.
because
Because
we could
normally
have
one would go
gotten,
down and you would be fine with
That's why
two.
we
Right.
have 3, yeah.
Yeah.
we
We
could
have
have gotten
redundancy.
5 years, changed to new refrigeration, and then those parts were a waste of time. That's not,
Yeah.
No,
No, I
they
understand.
can't do that.
And that's the pushback I have provided is why, you don't do that for your own home. Why would you do that for a business when it's, everything's more expensive
That's it,
and
right.
Are
more?
we changing the microcontroller on that third one? You said that's what failed.
so it was a micro switch that failed, and it was intermittent, so ABM says, you know, that they can't detect that if they're not witnessing it at the time.
Oh, I
Right,
see, so
so-
they come in and look, it's working, they're good.
Right, so they're not going to,
Thanks.
you know, pay for the repairs or anything. So what they did was replace the micro switch with a factory relay, like in our control board,
Yeah.
there's actually space for another relay. This is, according to our refrigeration provider, a superior, stronger, better, component to protect that. And then because it's also a relatively inexpensive component, they're just gonna get changed on an interval now, like whether it's annual or every 6 months, we're just changing this thing. To prevent this from happening in the future, so that's been discussed.
Thank you, David.
Yeah, we appreciate
Good
it.
job.
You may not be hearing that, but we
Yeah,
appreciate
we
it.
appreciate it.
It's
It's a lot.
It is a lot. And it's one of those like perfect storms where
Exactly.
you have 3 and then all 3.
We had the redundancy, that's what just like.
Yeah, and then all
like, we
3
had redundancy. And
Broke
extra
because of
recovery
this
in-
one broke in such a fashion that it made the other ones. break.
One was down because it had started making a noise, so it
Okay.
was scheduled, there was a purchase order and a schedule for them to come out and just inspect and
Figure it
troubleshoot.
out, yeah,
To
yeah.
pull the covers off and see what's going on in there. That's just step 1.
Yeah,
That was the first indicator that, you know, something was amiss, but we certainly weren't panicked because we only need 2.
right.
And we had no indication that the other two were going down. So when the other two went down, this is even more of a perfect storm. We had that power surge on Friday. I don't know if you guys had this on Friday, I guess it would have been the 20th. All the rec center went black. And the power came back within like, I don't know, 45 seconds. So when they came out Friday night into Saturday morning working on the problem. They found out that one of the contactors went bad, so that's why the compressors initially went down. It was the contactor, they think maybe from the surge, who knows? But it was an electrical problem. So they fixed that, got us back running, but then we went down for the other issue, the micro switch or whatever, or who knows, maybe the micro switch had already failed. When 3
Intermittently.
started making noise, we don't know. But in any case, we had one on standby that was already scheduled to be looked at. That was still fine, because 2 were just fine to run it, but then the other 2 went. And actually it was 1, and then we were running on 1, and then both, so. And when he pulled parts from 3 to try to fix 2, like he used some of the electrical components to get 2 run, number 2 compressor running, number 3 was on standby. Then he was gonna try to use some parts in 1 when it went down, and the damage, you could tell, you pulled the cover plates off, you could see scarring on the pistons, and it was, we knew it's got, we're doomed here too, so here we are.
Thank you. Thorough updates.
All right, we'll move on to new business. Anybody have anything for new business? All right, any announcements?
Budget meetings. I'm gonna put them to you all right now. That's what I'll say real quick. Put them into the record. So the first one's Thursday, November 9th. That's from 6 to 9 or 10. Second one's Saturday, November 18th. That's from 9 a.m. to noon or 1. Third one is Thursday, November 30th. That's from 6 to 9 or 10. And then hopefully the last one is Tuesday, December 5th from 6 to 9, let's say. And that's all on, there's a page on our website for budget. You can see the agendas for each of those, but like I mentioned, Recs on Saturday and Public Works, which has some Parks and Rec related maintenance, is on Thursday. And the very last one is where we see what really ended up getting through.
All right, and our next meeting, we don't meet in December, so our next meeting is January 4th, 2024, and then we'll have 2 more meetings following that before the board becomes obsolete and transfers over to the new structure. So, yeah, I guess that's it. Well, the meeting is adjourned at 9:11. So close, Dave.
No.
David, we were off by 1 minute.